Hi, welcome to another episode of Tom's Geeky Garage. It came to my attention recently. I was going through Twitter and I seen a Twitter post by Jason Reitman, and the Twitter post was basically saying that the summer 2020 text at the end of the trailer, that text was actually shot practically. They had, I don't know, I guess they masked it on glass or something, and they backlit it and fluffed smoke. They did something and actually shot it practical rather than just shooting it in After Effects. And then the text in the tweet says something like, good things to come, or something like that, or a good sign of what's coming. So what I'm getting from that is that they're going to do kind of classic ILM style visual effects rather than what they had done in 2016, which we'll get back to that a little later in the video. But so what we're going to do, I figured we'll do a little visual effects episode, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like discuss the visual effects that happened in the first two movies, and then we'll discuss the visual effects, how they were done in the 2016 movie. And then at the end, what we're going to do is we're going to do an actual visual effect ourselves. We're going to sculpt, we're going to design a ghost, sculpt it, we're going to shoot it the way they would shot it at ILM in the 80s, and we'll composite it, and I'll put it together and see if I can get a shot out of the puppet that we make. And we'll do the whole build process of start to finish, so we'll get to see how that was done. So let's get started. So all the ghosts in Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2 fit into one of three categories. Either A, they were a person, it would be like the librarian ghost was an actual person with makeup on. 2, they were a puppet or animatronic like Slimer. Or 3, stop motion like the Washington Park ghost in Ghostbusters 2. At least I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure what the park is actually called. I think it's Washington Park maybe. So let's go through these, and then after we get done talking about these, we'll talk about 2016 and how they did their visual effects, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we could see come from Sony nowadays. Yeah. So start out the humanoid ghosts. So humanoid ghosts are like the librarian ghost or the jogger ghost from Ghostbusters 2. This is where they would do makeup, I'm sure, to sink in the cheeks and make them look a little ghosty or dead. And then they shoot them over a black screen. Back in the day when they did film, they did black, and they would cut out the black. Nowadays, you would do it over a green screen or a blue screen or something of that nature, I'm sure. But they would do that, and then they would composite it and do the ghost effect on just the person with makeup on, like the librarian ghost, as I said, or the jogger ghost. The second category is the puppets and animatronics, like Slimer. Slimer's face was animatronic, although his arms were a real person inside a suit. So he's kind of a hybrid between the first and the second category. He's kind of a humanoid, but kind of an animatronic. A little bit of a blend. And then other puppets are like the subway ghost and the theater ghost. You know, I think that was like a maquette, probably. That was filmed over black. It was probably a miniature shot, and they composited and scaled it and made it look a lot bigger than it was. And then 3 is the stop motion. And the stop motions, this is where they would build a stop motion puppet of the ghost. After they'd build it, an artist would animate it frame by frame in front of a black screen, and then they would, once that was shot, they would composite it the same they composited all the other shots. Now, let's talk about 2016. In 2016, from what I've seen, ghosts were either made two ways. Either humanoid, someone wearing makeup, or B, CGI, completely CGI. Let's talk about how they kind of did these two. In 2016, when they did humanoid ghosts, the way they would do it is they would make up the person, and then they would stripe the person with strips of LEDs in whatever bright ass color they wanted the ghost to be. So if it was a green ghost, they would put strips of green LEDs down the ghost, and they would film that, and then they would come back digitally and digitally erase out the bulbs, so you didn't see the bulbs, you would just see the glow effect coming off of them. So it looked like a glow coming from internally rather than a light source, which is kind of a cool effect, but it didn't really come out that well. It came out kind of looking Scooby-Doo-ish, or like Haunted Mansion, like almost like a kid's show would do a ghost, like trying to brighten it up so much that it's not that scary. But maybe that's just my opinion, I don't know. And then 2, they did CGI ghosts, which, you know, I think a lot of people really frowned upon that. You know, it's not that the guys at Sony did a bad job, or ImageWorks, or whoever probably did the effects for that. It's not that they did really a bad job at doing it. I think they did a rush job. I think they kind of rushed it, but other than that, it just felt so cartoony and wrong. Like, all those CGI ghosts felt weird. I mean, there were some cool kind of ghost designs I seen in there. There was a few of them that was like, that was a cool design, but the CGI, just having so much of it kills it. So with this Jason Reitman tweet, what we can guess is that they're going to do more of the classic ILM way, where they're going to do either puppets or they'll do some kind of practical effect, and then they will composite that, and they'll probably, since it is 2019, they'll probably do digital work to it. But I'm thinking the way that the workflow will probably go is they'll probably shoot it practically the way ILM would have done it. They'll probably sculpt out the ghost or make puppets or do whatever they got to do, shoot them, and they'll probably shoot them on like a new nice camera, so it'll look really good. And then they'll probably come in and digitally composite it into the shot. So they'll come back and make it transparent, add glow to it, and kind of do tweaks to it to make it, you know, get the right feel. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, like, long as the artists don't go overboard and just keep putting layers and layers of effects on it, you know, you can get away with just, you know, just adding a few little things and really pulling off a practical effect. So I think that's what they'll do. So what I'm planning on doing on our next video, I am going to do a visual effect the way ILM would have done it. So we're going to sketch and design a ghost that fits inside of the Ghostbuster universe. So something that can sit side by side with the ghost already in the show and be perfectly camouflaged in the group, you know, like something that fits in the group. I felt like with the 2016 Ghost, if you took some of those ghosts and fit them up side by side, you know, it's like, it's a different world. Like, you know, it's completely, you know, it's, how, what, really? So, anyways, so we're going to make it the old school way. We're going to make a ghost, we're going to make it match, we're going to sculpt it, we're going to mold it, we're going to cast it, paint it, then we'll rig it for animation, and then we will set up our soundstage, and we'll set up the puppet to be shot in front of the soundstage the way they did it. And then we'll take our layers into After Effects. I am going to use After Effects to do the composition, but we'll go through the comp and then we'll render out a video and we'll see what we get. So if you like this video, like and share, and just remember to come back for the next one, because we're actually going to do the project on the next one. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a big project, so take it easy.